But first, I have to tell you, I still cannot get over that presidential debate a few days ago. Was I watching a dignified contest between two candidates for the highest office in the land? Or was I watching something more akin to a WWE performance where the outcome was predetermined and the so-called good guy wins with an assist from not one, but two other players? In this case, the two ABC debate moderators tapping in and out of the ring to give an assist. So let's take this idea a step further. If Kamala Harris came into the debate with all the credibility of a pro wrestler, well, what would be her wrestling name? I've got an idea. Kamala Chameleon. Because, like a chameleon, she can change her appearance to suit the audience and fend off threats. To listen to Harris tell it during the debate, she's a pro-fracking, gun-toting, Israel-loving, border-enforcing capitalist patriot. But as the old saying has it, let's go to the videotape. Here's Harris at the debate.
In particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking.
Oh, really?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah, and starting with what we can do on day one around public lands, right?
Well, what about guns? Look, I'm willing to believe that vice presidential nominee Tim Walz might have a shotgun or two, but Kamala? Okay.
And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away, so stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
But it turns out you'll be able to keep your guns as long as they're not subject to one of her mandatory buybacks.
Something I'm so passionate about and so looking forward to being president to address. We've got to deal with this.
How mandatory is your gun buyback program?
It's mandatory.
Second Amendment?
The Second Amendment, listen, we're going to have to do it the right way. There's no question about that. But we don't have any, we have to get these guns off the street.
Well, we'll do it the right way. Anyway, how about foreign policy and Israel? Because apparently Kamala Harris loves Israel. She doesn't hate it like Donald Trump says.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality.
She just doesn't want Israel to properly defend itself. Remember when Harris told Israel not to enter the Hamas stronghold of Rafah?
Any major military operation in Rafah would be a huge mistake. Let me tell you something. I have studied the maps. There's nowhere for those folks to go. And we're looking at about 1.5 million people in Rafah who are there because they were told to go there, most of them. And so we've been very clear that it would be a mistake to move into Rafah with any type of military operation.
Now, of course, it was underneath Rafah, in tunnels built with Western aid money, that 6 hostages were recently executed by the terrorists, including American citizen Hirsch Goldberg Paulin. What are the chances that Harris didn't know from her intelligence briefings what was really going on in Rafah? Next to zero. Oh, and also, the big one, the border. Here's what Harris had to say at the debate.
But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job.
That was a total non-answer because those agents would not have been there to stop people crossing the border, but simply process their paperwork more efficiently. You see the problem. And I'll tell you what, this legal immigrant right here wasn't impressed.
We still have to have a controlled border, a secure border, because, yeah, we've had a lot of people going through the border illegally. My family went through a long process to get here legally. So I feel that it's unfair for hundreds of thousands to get here without problems, and then for the federal government to help them out. We've also lost Americans because how many illegals we're letting in, like the young boy from Ohio who had killed by illegal immigrants.
Oh, and then there was this total non-answer on the economy.
When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy.
Let's review that answer again. Question: are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Answer: I was raised in a middle-class family. Seriously, did she learn her English from Duolingo? And here's what's really interesting to me. While the media has been trying to portray this as a smash-up win for Kamala Harris and her pals at ABC, viewers such as these who were interviewed right after the debate thought otherwise.
She spoke facts. She just basically repeated everything that Biden has said in the past.
What were your thoughts? Donald Trump made a strong closing statement by saying, why didn't they do all the things that she's proposing during the 3.5 years that they've been in office? And Biden did this entire moderate stance back in 2020, and she's trying to do it again in 2024, but she didn't talk about her policy changes between 2020 and 2024. Her whole centrist moderate stance is just a facade.
And then there was this undecided voter.
What did you see that brought you to a conclusion?
I think it's important to remember that we are voting for the leader of our country and not who we like the most or who we want in our wedding party, but who is actually going to make our country better. And we're in an incredibly unique situation where we've had both of the candidates in office before, and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was higher, inflation was lower, things were better overall.
Sorry, ABC, it looks like the voters are seeing through the spin.